Now, this is the qualification task for Parsec qualification part 2. Okay, so this is the task title. Now, when you accept the task, you will be able to see how the task looks like. Okay, there are a total of 3 questions that you need to answer, and this is how the task looks like. Okay, now before we dive in deeper, I'd like to spend some time to go through the instructions document. Now, first things first, this is the instruction document. Now, please take note that it's important for you to understand this instruction document before you actually attempt the task. Now, I've also provided you with this production training video which shows you the actual way to do the task before you actually do this qualification. Now, this qualification is very, very similar to the actual production, but the only difference is that in the actual production, if you watch this video, you will see that this actual task is done using Google Sheets. Okay, but in this case, this qualification, you are actually putting everything into this fields right here. Okay, so now let me talk about you. What is the task about? Now the task is basically you need to go through the Security and Exchange Commission filing documents. These documents are basically when a company goes public listed. This is the document that the companies will prepare. And what you're supposed to do is you need to identify the types of headers that are found within the document using the guidelines provided. We'll talk about the guidelines soon. You're required to also determine the parent section, header level, section, and also the text found in the document that you're given. As I've told you earlier, there'll be a total of 3 pages with 1 question each page. And you need to complete all 3 pages. Once you have done all the 3 tasks, you will get a warning record. Now let's talk about what are you given. You're given a link which contains the document. It's the SEC document. Now from the document given, you need to answer parts to 2 of the sections of the question sets. Okay, both parts will be explained later in this instruction document. Now I'm just going to basically go to the task. Here's a screenshot for you. Now there are 2 sections, okay, for this question. This part is the first section. Okay, all right, and then below here there is another section. Okay, so there are 2 sections to the first page question, and this is obviously the document that I've just told you. Okay, so there will be 3 different documents and 3 different tasks. All right, now what is expected of you? You basically have to examine the document given. Based on what you have examined, you're required to answer the 2 sections of the question. All right, now before we move further, I'd like to show you the document first. So this is how the document will look like, and you can see that the document already has certain numberings. So what we have done is we have numbered all the headers found in the document. Now it may be a company specific header or it may be a generic header. It doesn't matter. If you have already watched the production video, you will know that we are only interested in generic headers. Company specific headers we don't want to. So in this case, we have highlighted all the headers that we can find. Okay. And what we have done is we have labeled here until, so first document, there are 29 headers. And if you go to the task, you will see there are also 29 questions for section 1 and 29 questions for section 2. Okay. So there are 29 questions that you need to basically answer according to the document that you have. And each header refers to the question number. So here, remark number 1 refers to question number 1. And same for the bottom section also. Number 1 here refers to the first header that you see in the document. Now, again, let's talk about the sections that we have. What are you supposed to do? Basically, the first section of the task, you need to go through the document and determine the type of headers found in the document. As I've told you, we will be looking deeper into what are company specific headers and what are generic headers. So company specific headers are not taken in the task, in the actual production. Generic headers are taken in the task. Now, the second section of this qualification is where you need to select the parent section, the header level, the section, and also the text based on the document that you are given. It's very important that you need to make sure that you are familiar with the drop downs and also the way this task works, because it's important. Okay, now there's an important note also for this. Now, basically, if there is a company specific header in a particular section that you're looking at, you don't have to extract them, you just place an NA. So we'll look at this further. So at any point in time, if let's say one of these headers are company specific and you don't want them, so which means if let's say in here, in any of this part here, let's say maybe this model S, for example, let's say you tick this as the company specific header. Okay, in the document, let's say here, where's number 6? Okay, let's just pretend you say this is a company specific header, you don't want to take it. So in the first section, you answer company specific, not taken, which means here also the entire row must be an A, because you're not taking any of the header. Okay, all right, so please make sure you remember this. So later I'll show you how it's done. Maybe we'll go through a few parts of the task so that you understand clearly what you're required to do. Okay, now going back to the instructions document. So here I have you. If you have come across any header that is company specific, you don't have to take it. Just label as NA for the entire row. So here's the screenshot that I showed you. Okay. Now let's talk about the ways to identify a header, because that's the most important thing. Now I know in the first qualification you were told to count the headers, but you have actually counted both company specific and generic headers. Now comes the time where you need to understand what is the different types of header and how to identify them. Okay, so here I have the same instructions from the first qualification for you to have a look and know, okay, what actually makes a header. Okay, what actually is a header. You know how, based on the qualification, you know that if it stands out by itself, it's bolded, or if it's in italics, okay, you know it is probably a header. Okay, and it's usually, it stands out from the rest of the text. Okay, now first step, what you're supposed to do the moment you get the task. Okay, you're first required to analyze the URL given, go through the entire document. Okay, make sure the numbering on the document tallies with the number of questions you have in the question document here. Okay, now then what you're supposed to do is you are supposed to okay, identify, okay, the types of headers that you have. So here are some key information that you use to identify the types of headers. Number 1, bold headings, uppercase words, italics, underline. Now I know that we have already identified the header here to you, so this wouldn't be a problem to you. However, you need to know if it is a company specific header or generic header. Now, what actually makes a company specific header or what makes a generic header? That's what we are going to look at now. So first, generic headers. What are generic headers? Generic headers are headers that are commonly known terms in a specific context. So basically, think of it this way. Let's say you are company A and I am company B. So when we file a SEC document, there will be a lot of terms that we both our companies will use when we are submitting the document. And these terms are known in the entire industry. It is not specifically just for your company, and it's not specific just for my company. Okay, usually these are all terms that are, maybe I have a particular project. Let's say your company has a particular project, maybe in China. I have a particular project in New York, for example, and the project names are in the document. Those are company specific. Okay, generic are basically examples are all this. So obviously part one, item one, business, these are all generic terms that are used across the industry. Overview, products, technology, sales, marketing. So all these things are across the same industry. Now you have to understand, when I say industry, you have to understand that company A and company B could be the same industry. Let's say company A and company B are from the vehicle industry. Okay. So you will already foresee certain words such as vehicle, battery saving, and all these words that are common in that particular industry. Those are not company specific terms. Company specific terms could be the actual models that they use, okay, for a vehicle company. So there's a very thin layer that you need to think about. Okay, obviously financial documents and all are very generic because every company has it. Okay, so you have to be very careful which header you classify as generic, which header you classify as company specific. Now, I do understand that sometimes you might not understand which can be a generic header, which can be a company specific header. If you are not sure, okay, can this be a company specific header or can this not be a company specific header? It is best to treat it as generic headers and take them, unless you're absolutely sure. Okay. Now, again, for example, here I have some examples of company specific headers. Okay. Sorry, generic headers. I have some generic headers that I can go through, which are all this, and here's a screenshot. Okay. Now, again, here I have company specific headers. What are company specific headers? Headers that contain the company name, or the header is very focused, okay, to the company alone, and we don't want to take it. Okay, so when a header is focused to that particular company alone, okay, we don't want that. Okay, now as a general guideline, it is that if it's too specific that you're never going to see it in another company's SEC document, consider it as a company specific document. This generally include headers with long sentences. So here are some examples of company specific headers. You have Boeing military aircraft segment, and then you have like a quote. It is our efforts to attract non-successful business, and all this might be bolded, might be italics, might be in capital, might be underlined. So just because they are all those in all those font specifications doesn't mean it is a generic header. So here, if you zoom in, you can see what I'm going to do is I'm going to just zoom in so that we can see here. So see, all these are company specific headers that we don't treat them as. I know they stand alone and they are what do you call it? They are italics, but again, not necessarily they are generic headers. Now, so what do you do once you have identified company specific and also the generic headers? You basically choose the matching answer in that particular question that you've got here. So, all right. So for example, okay, let's say we look at this part one. Okay. Now, if you think part one is a generic header, you go to the question here, go to here, number one, part one, you will select generic header. Okay. If you think part one is a company specific header, for question one, you will say it is a company specific header. Then you will move on to number two, which is item one, business. If you think this is a generic header, you will say that you will take this. If you think it is a company specific header, you will take this. And you will do the same until number 29 for the first part of the question. Okay. Now, before we move on further, I'd like to talk some edge cases to help you understand the headers. So here I have an example where, although the highlighted phrase is in italics, okay, and it somewhat looks like a generic header, you will not treat it as a header because number one, can you see the bullet points here? Now, if there are bullet points next to an italic or a capital or something, usually they are not headers. They are points within the text. So we will not treat them as headings at all. Although they are bolded, although they are underlined, although they are in italics. Okay, very important. Now, edge case number 2 here. I have two italics and there's a full stop next to the italics. So these two are headers because number one, italics and there's a full stop that separates the text to this particular phrase. Number two, it is a generic term where it is known throughout different industries. Okay, so and number three, there's no bullet points here. So this can be headers. Okay, now, okay. Now, again, once you have completed this part 29 questions, you will then move on to the second part of the document, okay, where you will need to now put in, okay, the informations yourself. Okay, now I know in the production you will need to basically copy from the document and put it in, but here, because we don't have the capabilities of doing so, we have already put out all the information here, okay, except for the text. The text is just yes, no, okay, and every section NA, I've explained to you what you need to do if you come across a company specific header. All right, now let's move in deeper to understand what you need to do. Okay, determining the parent section, header level, section, and text for part 2. In this part, you need to identify based on the document given what is the header, what is the parent, which is the heading, what is the heading level, what is the section, and also if there is a text, okay, below that section. Now I'd like to spend some time, okay, talking to you about, in order to understand better, we will start talking about how to understand what is a section, what is a parent section, okay, and also give you some examples and explanation before we actually attempt this task. Okay, now number one, it is important that you look at how a section is and what a section is, and also understand what a parent section is. Okay, so section refers to a particular paragraph or section of the text that you're looking at, and the parent section is basically the header of that particular section. Now, look at a few examples below to understand how sections and parent sections relate. So here's an example. Now, let's say the green annotation here refers to the section that you're looking at. Okay, so let's say this is the section you're looking at. Okay, now obviously the header for this section, okay, is usually the one above, immediately above the text, which is this cautionary statement regarding forward-looking statements. So this is the section. Okay, now because one level above the text is what the section is. That's the section that they're looking. In other words, section can also mean a paragraph, because every new paragraph probably has a header. Okay, not necessarily, but most cases. Okay, now so in this section, okay, this is the section that this green annotation is the section. Section basically means the part of the text that you're looking. Okay, and basically the section header is this. All right, and the parent header, or in other words, I can also say the title of this section, which is the section header for this, which is the title or parent header for this section, is this one level above the title. Okay, so you will need to know that if you're looking at this as this section, okay, you know that whatever is below the section header is the text, whatever is immediately above, okay, one level up is the parent section for that particular section. Okay, Now, here I have an explanation. So in this example, the paragraph within the green box is a section because that is what you're focused on extracting, the headers. The section header for this paragraph is highlighted in yellow. As for the parent for this particular section that you're looking at, it is labeled in red. Remember, the header level changes according to which section that you're looking at. Now, if you looked at the production video, you will realize that not all the time this will be a section. This part can become a parent section itself, depending on how deep you go into the text, which is why I want to go through the next example where we have this. Now, again, it's the same text. I'm just zooming in because, so let's say you're moving in into this whole part. Okay, you have already extracted this part. Okay, as which is the parent, which is the section you've already extracted. Now you're moving deeper. You're looking at these two sections. Let's just say. Okay, so immediately you will know that for these two sections, there is a header, there is a parent section, which is the title for these two sections, this. Okay, so now this cautionary statement regarding the forward-looking statements will become the parent header, and one level below there will be two different sections that are nature forward-looking statements and also risk factors, and below each of the section there is a series of text. Now, quite interesting that if you look here, that if you look closely here, there is another header here. Okay, now, so here I've written here, when this becomes a section, the parent section will become the title for this section. So when this becomes a section by itself, okay, because every header, if it's a generic header, can become a section or a parent section. Okay, so let's say this is the header. Okay, below it there are no more headers. So this, let's say when this becomes a section, which is actually the parent section for this section, it is this. Okay, because it's one level below. Okay, so I haven't talked about the levelings yet. I'm just talking about how do you understand the difference between a section and also a parent section, depending on where you look at for the which part are you focused at. Okay, so here the explanation I have. This example, you can see we are looking at a box is green. As you can see, there are two sections and both sections have a parent section, which is this is the parent section that for these two sections. And then on that note, at the bottom of the image, you can see a new section is available. In this case, we will need to treat the title for that particular section as the parent header. So the title for this particular section is this. Right? If you looked at the production video, you'll also understand. I've also explained this as well. Now, again, here, another example that I want to show you, which is, I guess it's the same document, but I want to explain to you how it actually is. So let's say you are looking at this part here. Let's say you're focused on this part. I'm going to zoom in a bit deeper. Okay. So let's say you are focused at this part. So let's say this is the section you're looking at. Okay. Obviously, you know this is the section because this is the text and this is the section that is that the text belongs to, and then one level up is the parent. Okay, so it will be useful for you to actually put in the section first and then put in which is the parent. It will be easier for you to understand. Now here there's another example. So let's say you've already done this part here, you've already extracted, you move on to this section here. Okay, so and you will know that, okay, if this is the section header, okay, and below it there are also other new sections. Okay, we are not interested in inside here yet. We have not gone that deep yet. Let's say this is the section that you're looking at. Okay, you have extracted this already. You have extracted this text. Now you're looking at this description of business. Okay, when description of business becomes the section, you will know that item 1 business becomes the parent section for the section here. Okay. Now, another example here. The moment you are going another level down where you have general and competition as the sections, okay, the parent section for general and competition will be description of business. And whatever is below general is the text for general. Whatever is below the competition is the text for the section competition. Okay, and here there's another one, same as this, okay, but I've just put in here. Okay. Okay. Now let's talk about heading level. Okay. Now that you have understood the how to differentiate the parent sections and also the sections, I want to talk about heading levels because that's another thing that you need to do. Okay, because here you have the heading level also that you need to do, and this heading level is not just a running number. It's basically what level is the header. Okay, it's basically referring to the section header. So what level is the section header? Okay, and what is the parent section? Now moving here. So heading level is determined by the number of subheadings that are below the first level heading. This example here, title 1 part 1 is the first level heading, which is because that's the most top, right? And then one level down becomes level 2. Okay, and one level inside of level 2, one level lower than level 2 becomes level 3. So if you look at this screenshot, can you see description of business and regulation of supervision? It is on the same level. Why is this? Because if you look at the way the text is presented to you, you will know that this is the level 1, this is level 2. Within item 1 business, there are 2 subheadings, which is description of business and regulation and supervision. Okay, and within description of business, you have general and recognition. Okay, and inside recognition, you have, sorry, it's a bit small. Let me just zoom in a bit more. And within the competition, there is non-bank subsidiary. So there can be more. The screenshot is just showing you the different levels that we have. So once, let's say this is the text actually. So you will have level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. This 2 is same level 4 because it is a section for this particular parent. But this becomes level 5 because this is the section for this parent section. Okay. Now, once you have extracted, you realize here, oh, okay, here there is a new heading, but this heading is the same font and also same level as this because it looks the same font size, and they are not smaller in terms of the headings. Okay, so the size of the word also can play an important role for you to help understand which level of it lives. Okay, so again, then you will know, all right, so which means this is level 3. So you will jump back from level 5, the next row you will jump back to level 3 because you're already going up. And then again, this will become level 4. The moment you jump back to level 3, below level 3 is level 4, and then inside level 4, there is level 5. So again, if you looked at the production video, you will see how I've done it properly. Okay, and obviously we ignore company specific headers. Again, if you're not very sure if it's specific or not, take it unless they fall under the rules that I've just told you earlier. Where is it? Yes, we've gone through this, right? Yes. Okay, now here are more examples that I'd like to show you. Okay, so level 1, level 2, text for level 1. Sorry, let's go by leveling. Yeah, okay. You already understand which is section, which is header. We already understand that. I like to go through basically the leveling. So let's say this is level 1. This becomes level 2. Okay. And then this is also level 2 because it's the same leveling. Okay. And then you have within the level 2 here, item 1 business, there are 2 level 3s. Okay. Now, so here there's an explanation to help you, right? Now, here I have another example where I would like to show you where a parent header has multiple sections, okay? Multiple sections within the parent header. So which means, let's say this is level 1. Sorry, I don't think I should use level 1 because level 1 is usually part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Let's say this is maybe level 4. Okay, this is level 5, level 5, level 5, level 5, level 5. Okay, don't accidentally put level 4 here. I mean, example, let's say this is level 4. Don't accidentally say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is wrong. Okay, now text. Under each parent section or section title, there may be some sentences or paragraphs to elaborate some information about the title. Okay, sometimes there would be none. Okay, depending on the document. Okay, now you will not see the text in the answer field that you have here. For example, here you will just see yes, no. Okay, NA is obviously I already explained to you what you do. Okay, so when do you choose yes or no? So before that, obviously, here are some examples of how the text actually looks. So this is the section, and inside the section, there's usually a series of text. Usually, these are all examples of text. Okay, so now the answer option is yes or no. Yes is basically you select if there is text under that section. No is if there is no section under the text. Don't accidentally pick an A, please. So here are examples of header with text. This is the section header. This is the text. Example of header without text. So this is the parent section, and below it is the section header, but in between them there are no text. So you will just put no for this. Once you have completed one, you will click on submit the task, but again, you need to complete all 3 pages. Okay. So what I want to do is I'd like to spend some time going through this document. I'm going to give you some of the, I'm going to show you how we do it. And then I'm going to jump around so that I don't give you the answers directly. Okay. So let's say you have gone through this document, you have already extracted, you have already picked this up. So right now we are focused on this. So number 1. All right. So now obviously when we are looking at a particular section, okay, we are looking at this part of the section here. Okay. Now always remember the first part here. Okay, the first part here. Okay. For the first time when you are taking out the header, you are referring to the top part here, which is part 1. Okay. So when you're extracting the section out, it will always be the same for every document. Okay. For when you're taking out the first part, okay, it can be part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. It's basically heading level 1. Okay. This is how it should be at all times. Okay. So you will have the parent section, which is part 1. Heading level is 1. So in this document, heading level 1 is this, which means the section here also must be part 1. Okay. So within, okay, part 1, section part 1, I mean the header and the section is the same. That's for the beginning. So if let's say the document has 4 parts in total, okay, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4 will all be heading level 1. Okay, because those are the headers. Okay, now, which means what you're supposed to do is you will see that section part 1, heading level 1, and the parent section for the part 1 section is the same. Part 1, it's not different. Okay, if is there any text? There's no text. Okay, because there is no text inside part 1 here. Now moving on to the next one here, number 2, item 1 business. So this is the section that you're going to look at. So when item 1 business becomes the section, which is the parent section for item 1 business, it is obviously part 1. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is you will click here, item 1 business, because that is the section that you're looking at right now. Okay, and then once you have looked at the item 1 business, okay, you have looked at item 1 business already, you will know that this is what heading. This is obviously heading level 2. Okay, because it's one level below heading level 1. If this is heading level 1, this is heading level 2. Okay, correct. So which means this is heading level 2. And the parent section for item 1 business is obviously part 1. Now, the question is if there is text or no within this section. Is there any text inside this section? No, which means you will then pick no. Okay, now you will now move to basically the next question, which is number 3. So number 3 here. Okay, we are looking at this. So this is the new section that we are going to look at. Okay, because we have done this already. We have extracted this. So now when this becomes the section, which becomes the header, which becomes the parent section, obviously this. So now we are moving to here. I'm going to put overview because that is the section. Okay, this will be the section, and the heading level is obviously you are now one level below. Okay, you are basically one level inside this already. So if this is level 2, then this is level 3, which means you pick level 3 here. And of course the parent section for overview is item 1 business. Okay, now is that text? That's the most important. Okay, is that text within the field? Obviously, okay, as you can see, there is text inside the section overview. So you will say yes. Okay, I'm going to do one more, which is number 4. Then we will basically look at a few things within the document to help you understand better. Okay, so now let's see overview is a section. Okay, the next number 4. Okay, this is number 4. Okay, so if you look at the leveling, number 3 and number 4 seems to be they look like the same leveling, which means this is also heading level as the same as this. So going back to the document, so what heading level is overview? Level 3, which means the next one, products, our products and services, is basically heading level 3 also. And what is the parent section for heading level 3? Obviously it's item 1 business. Okay, and then is there text within the section our products and services? Is there any text between number 4 and number 5? No, obviously if there's no text, then you will basically change it here to no text. So Then you will just keep on continuing. Okay. Now, if let's say you are coming across any headers that are not generic, they are company specific. Okay, what will happen is that you will put NA for the entire row. So let's say number 6, for example. So let's say number 6 here. This is a company specific. Let's say model S. Okay, so let's say this is an electronic car company. Obviously, you can see that this looks like, you can see the company name here is Tesla. So model S is a very specific company specific term, because no other vehicle companies will have model S. It is unique to Tesla itself. So which means number 6 will be a company specific header. So for that, what you need to do is, for the entire row of number 6, instead of picking the model here and putting the leveling, you must remember to put NA, and the NA must be there on the entire row. Okay, and then obviously the numbering continues as you go on. Okay, and remember the leveling. Okay, so that is basically how you attempt the qualification task. Okay, once you have completed 3 qualifications, 3 of the tasks, okay, you will then be given your results and you will then be notified. So if you are not sure how this is done, you can always refer to the production task video that I've done to understand better. Okay, so that will basically provide you with some information on how to actually do the task. Okay, in this case, you have already been given the section headers. Okay, because the numbers are here. Okay, all you need to know is, are you taking it or are you not taking it? If it's a generic one, you take it. If it's a company specific one, you take it. Again, if you're not sure if it's a company specific header or if it's a generic header, if you're really not sure, think about it this way. Okay, if let's say you have a particular company industry, maybe let's say the company is a car company, so you are looking at documents that are related to car. Is that header unique to that company alone, or could other companies that are also car companies have that same term? Okay, if it's unique to that company only, that header, then you don't take it. If it is somewhat unique, but then other car industries also can relate because it's a generic term, then you take it as a header. So that is basically how you attempt the qualification task.